So let's play this thought exercise for just a second. I'm not even going to talk about the Federation. The Borg would wipe out the Star Wars universe entirely. All they have to do is assimilate one Star Destroyer, and the next thing you know, poof, they've now got hyperspeed technology and are just traipsing back and forth. They're taking out the outer rims and everything else and going. It'd be very fast to get assimilated.
I'm done.
No,
I'm done. Oh, I'm done. Knock it off.
What's up, my know-it-alls? It is time! Rematch of the century! So this one's been waiting since last year.
Really? Last year? It was a month ago.
You might remember the clip that we just played. Yeah, man. She came rip-roaring ready. I told you guys that she was going to want to rebut this. And sure enough, as soon as she saw it, she was like, oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. But we have to get through the holidays. So now we're through the holidays, and I think we have a really best setup. Also, give me the opportunity to roll out my brand new Strange New Worlds homemade uniform that I had a shirt made, and yeah, I'm gonna be playing with the prototype. I'm gonna be playing with it, get my lines a little match up a little closer. Anyways, yeah, dude, super excited to do this. We're here to talk Star Trek versus Star Wars Round 2. Now, the rules of the original question was who would win between the Star Trek universe and the canon Star Wars universe. That distinction is very important because there's extended universe material on both sides. But so we're just sticking strictly to canon. So yeah, let's get into it. Where would you like to start?
Okay, let's start with what you said.
Okay.
Okay.
So briefly, here. Matter of fact, here I'll just play the summation.
What about the Force? Look, man, Order 66 nullified the Force, in my opinion. When a whole bunch of soldiers can just turn around on the people who are like, it's like, what was that? Order 66? And you're dead? I'm kind of no longer impressed by the idea of, well, Darth Vader can reach up and grab a starship, or Rey in the last, Rise of Skywalker pulls a starship out of space. It was a glorified transport ship, let's be real. I know there's some other out-of-canon things. That's one of the reasons why they put canon. So again, I feel like in a ground war, the Star Wars universe wins. I feel like head-to-head. I feel like overall, Star Trek can dominate in a lot of ways.
Okay?
Okay.
All right.
So, while hyperspace is already faster, and yes, they are in another galaxy where Star Trek has only 13%.
Sure.
Star Wars has covered it all.
Sure. No, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Hands down.
So if pretend that galaxy is united.
No, totally. Yeah.
If you were to take the entire galaxy and invade, we'll say Enterprise's galaxy.
Sure.
We would win.
Okay, you don't get to just make summary statements like that. You got to drop it. Because here's the thing. Because first off, you're dealing with the fact that they're going to encounter You're right. In the parts of our quadrant we haven't experienced, they're going to encounter the Borg. They're going to encounter other threats on that level. And remember, the other rule that I want to make sure to reiterate, I've taken Q and super space beings because Star Trek has a plethora of those for some crazy reason. Those are off the table because frankly, that's not fair. At a snap of a finger, they'd destroy anybody. So that's not even remotely a
Right.
fair
At least
comparison.
in Star Wars, you got to work for it, whether it be a pinching
No,
of the throat
totally,
or...
yeah. So right, no, legit. So I'm like, so the likes of Q and that nonsense, that's off the table. We're just playing with the toys in the box.
Okay. Well,
Okay.
no, that was just me having fun.
No, totally, no. I get it,
and
but
I will totally.
but there's merit to the argument.
Here's another thing. You said, you said the ships were agile.
Yeah,
They are, and
Yeah.
they are. I agree with you 100%. The thing is, Star Destroyers are bigger,
sure.
and Star Wars shields or what
Deflectors, yeah,
thank you.
deflectors, yeah.
Their deflector shields don't go down by percentage.
No, they just don't stop what they're trying to stop. So what do you mean? They just because you have to hit. You're absolutely right, by the way. They don't go down by percentage. You have to actually hit the power of the power station of the thing in order to bring the shield down. Otherwise, it's an impenetrable force at that point.
Right.
Right. I get it.
Okay.
So they have stronger shields. That's your contention, right?
Yeah.
I got it.
Shield.
Heck, strongest, best offense is a good defense. I get it.
And with Star Destroyer...
That's a football analogy. I'm kidding. I don't know. Wish my wife totally was the one who taught me. Go on.
And then there's the thing. I'm assuming it's always going to be Star Destroyers. Because...
Well, you get the Star Destroyers, the TIE Fighters, the Super Destroyers.
Well, and that's the other thing. If a Star Destroyer or a few Star Destroyers end up in Federation territory, they're bigger, and we carry TIE Fighters. I'm part of it.
Right. But those cannot travel through the shields either. So if you tend to start using actual, that means in order for your tactic to work, and by the way, it would, you have to stake 100% inside your ship. Here's the other thing: we could easily do. We can play the same game you guys play.
Sure.
By that I mean, I'm willing to go as far as say that because it's canon, the new sequel trilogy. Okay. What's one of the awesome moves that they do in that thing? She does that whole hyperspeed, blows up a bunch of ships, right? Very powerful move. But at the same time, we can do something similar. It's called dropping our warp core. So you just drop a couple warp core bombs. A warp core bomb would take out your shields and probably half of the ship with it.
Okay.
So now you have because of nothing else, there is an EM pulse that goes, and the EM pulse was what would ultimately take out your shield generators.
Which makes sense.
So now you have, it's because it's that wave you see come off of a warp core when it explodes. So now you're faced with to me, that's the check move, not checkmate, but the move that counters your first one. So now we're back at level again.
Okay. Well,
because I will concede that the repeater, the blasters that you guys have on your ships would easily take out shields fast. You're talking our shield percentages will plummet fast.
Right.
Okay,
which I never understood about Star Trek anyway, but that's a whole nother conversation.
It's a regenerative thing. It's technology trying to be realistic because we're not a fantasy. I'm kidding. God, I'm sorry. That's awesome.
Well, this is a perfectly good question then.
Yeah.
Because my next point was going to be, we put shields around planets and moons.
So true.
And they're hard to get through.
Yes.
So would it...
What?
What you just said, those...
Oh, so you guys... Wait, so what planets are you just suddenly throwing shields around in our universe? In our galaxy.
When they were trying to... Rogue One.
No. But I know that. I'm talking about... what's that got to do with it being over here?
I'm talking about...
Oh, the warp core thing?
Yeah. Would that take those shields
Absolutely.
out? You think that would too?
Yeah, because it's the energy. It doesn't. They're not stopping. What they're stopping. So okay. Because of the okay, now we have to get a slight technical conversation. Forgive me. This has nothing to do. Let me just get my brain fixed. The shields that are designed in Star Wars are designed to stop anything from penetrating.
Right.
Okay. Energy is not. Energy, space radiation, other things. Energy would not be one of those things that would cancel it out. Now, our shields are designed to stop energy. It's one of the reasons why if you were to you try to hit them on the outside with something solid or something more powerful, it would affect the how fast that goes down because they're designed to deflect. Everybody in space, the Ferengi, the Romulans, the Klingons, whoever, they're using even their disruptor deal is not. They're giant. The ball of energy that they shoot, Klingons shoot out of the front of a thing, is not a torpedo. It's a type of disruptor ball, and of energy. So that is it. So our shields are designed for very different functions. Yours stop tactile things physically entering. It would also stop a phaser because it's a concentrated form of energy. Thus, that's why I said they do work against energy if it's concentrated. However, the Federation ones, ours are strictly energy. So your TIE fighters would actually probably be the best weapon against the Federation ship in truth. Because we couldn't, it would be difficult for us to shoot and catch and aim as the way they do. Because remember, our Starfleet and Federation, let's shift out of universe for a second, was built and designed around naval, submarine, and battleship style battles. Very different creation method with the thought process.
Which is why we always question why some Star Wars ships look so silly sometimes.
No, totally. Same. But yeah, so forgive me. Go on. What's your next point?
You cannot get rid of the Force. And I'm going to tell you why.
Okay, that's fair. Go ahead.
Because even though Order 66 happened, the Emperor is still alive.
True story.
So I'm telling you,
and he would be the one leading the charge. I get it.
Okay,
I'm down.
so he would be able to. He would. I'm not saying anybody else right now, but
sure.
For the sake of this argument, he would be able to take, let's say, the Enterprise and crush it.
Yeah. Absolutely, hands down.
So you can't.
So my issue was that. I will concede that. 100%, I'll concede that. In that rant when I was talking about Order 66 thing, one, I was being a little tongue in cheek, but the truth is, a lot of the Force is based not just on your ability to fight and concentrate, but it's also about being prescient and to how the universe is moving. Yoda, how he sees the future, how you determine the reflexes that Anakin showed when he's in the pod racer are more about, I know I sense in the future I'm going to need to turn left. So I'm going to be ready, and I'm going to turn left preemptively to do. And so he's moving that with that sort of foreknowledge. When you bring the Force in, if that foreknowledge wasn't enough to help them against the soldiers, which I know people could argue, well, that's because they trusted them and this and that. Bro, if that level of treachery in your face, because literally, it's literally like, what was that? Oh, Order 66? Yeah, no problem. You telling me that you're not here? I hear my daughter on the phone in the next room, and she says, I'm like, where are you going? What's going on? You trying to tell me that these guys with the Force wouldn't know or have an idea that some... So I feel like that it hamstrings your argument from within. Not totally, because I do agree with you. I think the Emperor, the whole thing, absolutely. Truthfully, I think he probably used Force lightning a little better to take out our shields first and then
crush it.
Just because to show we're not safe.
Yeah.
He'd be kind of mean like that. This is also the writer in me too, by the way.
I was gonna say one of the comments under your thing was, "Well, whoever writes it is the." And I was like, "They're right on." Totally. It's funny. The gentleman that brought up 66 was under you.
Yeah.
His name was Darth Vader. But he was right when I was like, you can't take the Force out. Literally, whether it's about Order 66 or not. What else do I want to complain about?
So hold on. So if we're gonna do that, I'm down. So now I have to have an opportunity to rebut. So if we're gonna do that, then I believe out the gate, you conscript as many Betazoids as possible. That's Deanna Troy's people. Because she was half Betazoid, she's only empathic. Real Betazoids are full telepathic. So I need to be, so right now, so in response to that, I have to be ready to know the mind of who's in front of us. So if that means, so this way you begin to know, there's a Force user on the ship.
I would expect you to do that. I wouldn't, if you can't, if you're going to take out the Force, then you've got to take out.
Right, then we have to bring something to respond to that. So I would say, so the Betazoids are my first play option. There are higher order beings that are not godlike, but at the same time, I don't know you have to go that route. I think Data and I think androids are going to become a huge factor, especially if you go the Picard route and those style where they're worker drone type androids. If we can just start replicating those bad boys and just bringing them out. That helps us in the ground war because clearly stormtroopers are coming next.
Yes.
Okay, so go ahead.
I believe in a previous post you said the Mandalorians would win.
Mandalorians in a ground war in
would,
hand-to-hand combat against Klingons.
Right. And that's cool. And I think that would be awesome. A nice little battle to see.
Totally.
Let's write that and let's, However, with the hyperspace and we have the Death Star that does move in hyperspace as well.
Okay. It's true.
Which also has one of our awesome shields on there. Which also, you don't have to turn the shield off for the TIE fighters to come out. It would be a huge,
We also don't need to turn off the shields to fly anything in there, especially not into that trench. So at the end of the day, I'm like, okay, but let's transport some.
That's the old Death Star.
That's the other thing, by the way. Transporter technology is really going to suck for you because your shields will not protect you against transporter technology because your shields are designed to stop intrusive, hard energy or hard light construct, i.e., phaser fire, blaster fire. We could transport bombs if you want to get nasty.
But my point is by the time they show up, we could have taken out, I don't know, all 9 of our planets.
We have more than 9 planets in the Federation. I know what you're saying. We have about 400 or so planets, but
that's
either way,
a nice chunk.
No, totally. Like I said, get the Defiant on the trench run.
If anything, we'd show up closer to Earth to take out Federation headquarters.
Again, I'm not kidding though. What do you think stands up against the Borg? The Borg would mess you.
I agree. No, I'm not saying the Borg wouldn't.
That's in our space too. That's part of Star Trek.
But would the Borg? Well,
the answer is yes.
Hold on. So, and no, you can't say. I know you can't just say yes.
Go ahead. Okay, good.
All right. I will really say this though. John Sivers Sr.'s.
He betrayed me.
No, he did not. He's smart, and I agree with him 100%.
Okay, what do you say?
It would actually be if the Empire went into Star Trek, their galaxy.
Yeah.
Because as far as I'm concerned, they live side by side right now.
Oh, sure.
I mean, because they're galaxies apart.
Sure. I gotcha.
So if they were to travel into the Empire, would travel into the Star Trek
Federation.
Whatever, into your galaxy.
Mm-hmm.
I believe behind the Empire would be the Rebel Alliance, and they would team up with Starfleet.
Oh, good call. I see that. Because they would just be like, sweet, they like freedom and stuff. They're like, we want to join you guys, and when we're done, we go back to our universe and we make some stuff.
Go back to your galaxy, yeah.
Dude, okay. I can see that.
Okay, now, I don't know. Here's the thing about the Borg. When we talk about the Borg and Star Wars, I feel like the Borg would eventually take over the Federation. No. See, my brain.
The Borg would take over. It's late. We're good. Come on, we're filming this actually pretty late. Go ahead.
The Empire.
Empire, copy.
But I'm not so sure.
Right.
That would be a bad thing for the Empire, especially if the Emperor is in a form of control over that.
Do you think he becomes like a Locutus?
Yeah.
He becomes like a head, he almost like the new king of the Borg, if you will.
Yeah, instead of them having a queen. That would be.
So part of me wants to be like, oh, but and the other part of me goes, okay, well, I could see that, because especially if the Sith are powerful enough to be able to, I think they can control on the molecular level some things, and I think that being able to control how the nanites ingest their body, whatever else, he might be able to find. Yeah, I could see that. Okay, there's something to be said for that.
So now we're on a even playing field almost.
Sure.
Because now we've got the Rebel Alliance hanging out with you, and then we have a real common enemy now. So.
Yeah, man. Wow. Well, it sounds to me like we're probably not going to ever get really to the
Nope.
full-blown, but I definitely believe you've given me much more to think about in terms of how the Empire would actually respond, especially because that was smart, by the way. I hadn't even thought about the Rebels potentially joining the Starfleet. But yeah, no, that, okay. Well, there you go. I believe now I know, because that's interesting. Again, yeah. I'm down. Hey, comment below. Let me know what you thought. Does Mrs. Know-It-All's argument hold water? I do believe it has merit. And I'd love to kind of see us sort of discuss out some points. If you're pro Starfleet, pro Empire, whatever the deal is, I'd love to hear your thoughts. As well as, what do you think about her theory that possibility of the Borg might be able to be controlled by the likes of Palpatine? I hadn't thought about that.
I don't know.
That's pretty insightful, man.
Well, we've seen... Well... We're counting the Picard?
Yeah.
Okay, well then then we know that they, if it's for the same, well, you know what I'm trying to say.
Right.
What's her name? I can't think of her.
The Borg Queen? Or the...
Yeah.
or Girardi.
Girardi is now the Borg Queen.
Right, of that little offshoot group.
Of that offshoot.
Right.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying is like, it is possible for
Absolutely.
it to control, but he would have to be the Borg King.
It's kind of crazy, man. It's
That's
crazy. No, I love that idea. I love that whole thought process. All right, man. Well, again, we'll talk to you guys very soon. That was amazing. What a great argument. So that's round 2. We'll see if there's a round 3 after we hear some comments from you guys. So, all right, guys. We'll talk soon. Never forget.
Everyone loves a know-it-all.
That's right.